Afternoon. We appreciate everyone being with us today and wanted to just first of all state that we appreciate the efforts that are being made at the state of Iowa to reopen businesses across Iowa. We recognize the tremendous hardships that the shutdown has caused. As Iowa's most populous county, though, we continue to see a steady increase in cases, and many of the public health experts anticipate a peak here in the first week of June. So we're just under 4,000 cases here in Polk County. And as Polk County continues to see a steady rise in cases, we've also seen a steady rise in deaths at more than 108 at 118. We think our community has also recognized that Polk County is still in a vulnerable position with the potential for widespread outbreaks. And we're thankful that the business community has also recognized this risk and is taking measured steps to reopen in a safe manner. As the governor's restrictions on bar activities expire this week, we can't let down our guard. As much as we want to socialize and engage with the businesses in our community, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to do so safely. This means wearing face masks, avoiding large crowds, and practicing social distancing. I think it's also important to note that a lot of people have a misconception about the people's ages that are actually positive for COVID-19. Currently, according to the Iowa Department of Public Health, 42% of positive cases are in adults age 18 through 40. Since lifting of the stay at home order in Wisconsin 2 weeks ago, they've seen as much as a 20% spike in various counties throughout the state. So we do want to do this and practice. We want to practice patience as we experience the lifting of this order. We understand the pain of the last 2 months of isolation, but please do not make that a wasted effort. We continue to work on a recovery and resiliency plan that will focus on health, mental health, basic needs, nonprofits, and the business community and local government. We've assembled a steering committee of local elected leaders, and our focus area committees are meeting this week. Our work will focus on addressing immediate needs in each area, building resiliency for a potential second wave, and creating consistent messaging and public education. Throughout this process, we'll be engaging the community at large, as well as a variety of leaders and subject area experts. We are also continuing to explore a local testing strategy that will focus on reaching our underserved communities and enhance contact tracing. This strategy will work with Iowa based companies and healthcare systems, and we hope that it will be a complement to the testing being done through Test Iowa and to reach some of our most vulnerable residents that have not been able to access testing. And now I would like to introduce Helen Eddy to share some statistics and trends in our county. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. To echo Supervisor McCoy's comments, we are not out of the woods yet in Polk County. We continue to see significant continued community spread of the virus throughout our county. Case counts and virus activity are at a sustained high level. We are also concerned that Polk County will see a resurgence in cases as a result of reopening and this past weekend's Memorial Day gatherings. So now I want to share with you some of the specific data that we are looking at. First of all, On this first slide, you'll see that as of this morning, the total number of positive cases in Polk County was 3,914. That is up 572 cases from Thursday, a week ago. That's a slightly lower increase than we had over the previous week. That's a hopeful sign, but what I want you to know is that it's very, very tenuous. We could see this turnaround as a result of reopening and people not following the guidance to be safe. The total number of deaths in Polk County is 113. That is up 23 deaths over last week, and that is really our lagging indicator. What we see is we see case counts, then we see hospitalizations, and then followed by deaths. And you have a graph here that shows both the cases and the deaths. One piece of data that we follow very closely is the number of hospitalizations in Polk County. Again, the goal of this effort has been to make sure that we are not overwhelming our metro hospitals. And again, those case counts are fairly steady. This week, we have 128 people hospitalized with COVID in Polk County. This is down 13 over the week before, down from a peak of over 150. But again, I want to emphasize this is very tenuous and it fluctuates day by day. Next slide, please. One of the areas of concentration for the Polk County Health Department have been our congregate living facilities. We have defined this much more broadly than what you will see on the Iowa Department of Public Health website. They're following skilled long-term care facilities. We look at assisted living group homes and all types of long-term care facilities. We have had, over the course of this epidemic, 79 facilities that have been impacted. Currently, we are monitoring 73. That's down 1 from last week. We have 29 that are at an outbreak status. Outbreak status is defined as 3 or more positive residents, and that is up 5 from last week. So again, our numbers and trends are a little bit all over the place. We have 44 of those facilities that are not at outbreak status, and that's up 2, so that's an improvement. So in some places we're seeing a little improvement, and in other places we are seeing that we have more cases showing up in our congregate living facilities. One thing I do want to point out is that of our 113 deaths, 92 of them have been in these congregate living facilities. That's what's driving our emphasis on protecting and working with these facilities to protect those residents. Deaths in congregate living facilities are 81% of the total deaths in Polk County. So with this as background, we are asking the public to continue to be cautious and to continue the practices that have helped to mitigate the spread so far. I'm not going to run through the list, you know what they are, but let's start by all of us showing an example and wearing a mask. We need to come together as a community to continue to combat COVID. This really means setting aside our personal interests for the good of the community, and I know that that can be hard. It means respecting our fellow citizens. This fight is not over. We must stay the course and we must stick together. We are stronger as a community together, and we must do this together. It's the only way we will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. And I think now we want to hear from Chief Wingert, if possible.
Yeah, thank you all. As Helen mentioned, we're not out of the woods yet. She gave the numbers of the case counts and the hospitalization and even those cases that become fatal. As we look at reopening bars, particularly on the Court Avenue district where there's generally a high volume of people, let's keep in mind that we stepped into these closures incrementally, and I think we need to step out of them in that same manner. Keeping in mind that the social distancing, the wearing a mask, all those information that we've heard about over the last 3 months that will keep us safe, especially when we're out and about. If you do choose to go to one of our establishments, keep in mind that there are also restrictions on those business owners, and be respectful of that. If you have a favorite establishment, remember that your actions, if you choose to go there, could impact them down the line. So we want people to be very conscious of what their actions are, what their plans are, adhere to those social distancing protocols have been put in place. We all know what they are at this point, and let's be sensible about this. I think we eased into it with the best intentions. We're not out of the woods yet, and we need to reevaluate how we ease out of opening up our city and our establishments. We'll have law enforcement down there monitoring, particularly in the Court Avenue area. But the last thing we want to do is have to take enforcement action or approach large crowds of people. Our officers face inherent risks every day. COVID-19 is just another one on top of that we don't necessarily want to combat if we don't have to. So be responsible. Remember that your actions, regardless, will impact other people in the area, and keep that in mind when you're out and about.
Great, thank you, Chief Wingert. Now we want to bring in Tom Zamolik with the Court Avenue District to talk about some of the policies that we might expect there starting today. Tom?
Sure, and I think I'll start by just reading a statement that I crafted for the district. As we look forward to welcoming everyone back to Iowa's premier entertainment district, we would like to remind our patrons that it is not business as usual down there. All of our establishments' capacities are limited to 50% of their normal numbers, and some locations have chosen not to reopen yet at this time. There are several restrictions that have been implemented by governor mandate, such as the 6-foot social distancing rules. No more than 10 people are allowed per table or in any group, and additional safety precautions mapped out by the CDC. In addition, each establishment may also have their own rules, and we ask that you be respectful for these rules and guidelines set forth by each location, and to follow your own personal health and safety beliefs on top of any that are required, such as wearing masks, hand sanitizing, and personal awareness procedures. Please check your favorite location's social media for individual direction and clarification on these rules. And this is very important. If you aren't coming to the court district for a specific destination, or if you aren't in the 21 plus age group to be able to get into our establishments, or if you show any symptoms of COVID-19, we ask you to please stay home. Loitering in the district will not be tolerated, and groups gathering in the street will be immediately moved out by our special task force from DMPD. And because of that, you may want to establish plan B, C, and D with your friends for a destination, as waiting in lines that aren't socially distanced will also not be tolerated on our streets or sidewalks. Our bars and restaurants in the court district are welcoming you back with open arms, but at a distance, and we are working hard to keep our customers and employees safe. Upon returning to the court district or any destination in the city of Des Moines, please do the same for your own sake and for the sake of others. So I guess I would just conclude that we are open for business as of tonight. All of our establishments have been closed for several months, and our operators have been painstakingly taking precautions in each individual establishment to keep everyone safe, both the customers and their staff. And we just ask everyone to be kind and respectful when coming back to our entertainment district.
Great. All right. Thanks a lot, Tom. We appreciate you jumping on with us. And finally, we're going to turn it over to Polk County Supervisor Angela Connolly for some final thoughts. Angela?
Thanks, John. I know there's both fear and excitement about the reopening of our businesses. People have waited a long time, but as several of you stated, we are really far from the finish line in this pandemic, and many more lives will probably be lost. That's why it is very crucial for all of us to use very good judgment. Be cautious, take steps to continue to protect yourself and others. We know that there are many challenges that lie ahead of us outside of the virus itself. And at Polk County, we are considering those. But we've also said so many times, just because business is open doesn't mean it's business as usual. It's going to take months and years for some families to financially recover. And as moratoriums on evictions and utilities shut off and expire, people will start to struggle tremendously. especially now that the stimulus payments and tax returns are done. There will be a lot more people who are going to need our help. And that's why we are focusing our efforts on resources to help just with the basic needs when it comes to food and shelter. So I encourage you to remember that and to give whenever possible. And I also want to take time today to really thank the emergency department and Helen and all her staff who've worked endless hours on this community's response plan, and also all the healthcare providers, frontline workers, the police, the community support agencies, everyone that's done really a yeoman's job on since really the middle of March, who's kept their work has really continued, and we will continue to support them in any way we can. So as we continue this response and begin to work on resiliency, it's going to take all of us as a collaborative and localized approach, and Polk County will be engaged and prepared to assist whenever we're needed. And I just want to thank everybody that spoke today, because we got a big job ahead of us. This is going to be we're all in a new normal. And I know everybody's excited to open up for business, but it's not business as usual. Just remember to be kind, keep wearing your mask, and I have to say it, wash your hands, stay your 6-foot distance, and we'll get through this. Now I'm going to open it up for questions if anybody has any questions. And I don't see any on the chat, I don't think, John.
Don't see any just yet, but let's give people a little bit of time. If you do have a question, if you wouldn't mind typing it into the chat, and if there's someone specific you're directing that question to, that's fine as well, or just leave a generic question.
John, if I could, I'd just like to acknowledge that we have Sheriff Kevin Schneider, who joined our call, and we appreciate all that the sheriff has been doing at Polk County Jail to protect not only the inmates and their safety, but also all of the employees that work at the jail. We appreciate all of Kevin's efforts. Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. And it is challenging times. And while the businesses and so forth that were closed are reopening, we never closed. So our numbers continue to grow. We continue to test. And if we can keep folks staying safe and at home, that would certainly help us at our facility as well. So thanks, everybody, for everything that they do. And it's a challenge, and we know it's not over yet. So thank you.
Thanks, Sheriff. And we'll give it just a little bit more time if anybody has a question.
John, if I could, I'd like to also recognize we have Robert Brownell, our fellow county supervisor, on the line, along with Mary Maloney, who is our county treasurer, joining us. Thank you for being with us.
Bob, while we wait for any questions to pop up, if you had anything you wanted to add to the group.
Well, I just say that I agree with Matt and Angela's presentation here. I think there's ways to find positives in these statistics, and there's ways to find negatives in the statistics. We can look at the same data, maybe come to different conclusions, because there are some positives in here. The percentage of negatives being tested in Iowa is rising. 10 days ago, it was 83% negative. Now it's 87. That's a good trend. Polk County's numbers are coming down, not enough to signal a trend, but it's we've had some last couple of days have been fairly encouraging. So hopefully that continues. I'm sure we all hope that. But the overall message, I think, for anybody should be to keep doing what we're doing. We've done a good job of flattening the curve and moving forward through these last couple of 3 months. And so I agree. I think what we should do is continue to, maintain our social distance, wash hands, wear masks, and stay with large groups if you're not sure what you're getting into. And I think we'll be fine. But I appreciate the work done by emergency management, the sheriff's office, and many others within the community, Des Moines Police, City of Des Moines, And really, all our partners across the metro have done a good job here. So thanks very much for what everybody's doing.
Great. Thanks, Bob. And it looks like you must have answered everybody's questions because I don't see any questions